Welcome to the last vlog from July. Can't quite believe how time is passing so quickly, and we're having a much needed chilled out weekend. Whoa, dude. I think he might have come up to me if I didn't speak. Also, I think he might have attacked me, so that is why I spoke. Where's he going? Look at this turbo. Still there. I don't know if you can see on the camera, on the top of the hill. I know, but I can't see him. Well, it's another weekend already, and I am pleased to report back from where we spent a lot of our time in the last video after the pigs escaped twice, that everybody has remained in situ. I'm filling Dexter's water bucket at the moment, changing that for him to give him some fresh water. He is in the corner next to the pig ark there, if you can see him, totally chilled. It's a beautiful day in terms of it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not too windy, and it's not raining, so it's absolutely fantastic for doing all of the small holding jobs in. Everyone seems really happy and really chilled. Even the cockerel is joining in. It's been really peaceful. We haven't had that many trains go past either today. I bet one goes past right on cue now. Stephen is pottering in his workshop because, as I said on the last video, he's got a shoulder injury that he's trying to rest, although he has been talking about doing some maintenance in the garden that doesn't need doing, but he wants to do it anyway, so we'll see what comes out of that. But right now it's a really peaceful day on the small holding. These two lambs up against the gate are playing, pushing each other around for the one, whatever the other one's got, so I'm guessing it's just a game because they've got access to the same things. Carol behind the chicken coop there that you can see, she's one of our second oldest ewe. She's just chilling out by the tree, and our oldest here is Nettle, whose wool is growing back really curly and quite thick after she was sheared not so long ago. Thought there was only one pig. I thought I jinxed myself when I came in, but they tend to always lay together and always be together, which is why if I just see one, it's usually not a good reason. So they're just getting their water topped up. You're going to chew the hosepipe, aren't you? But yeah, so far so good. No more escapees, so don't plan on it while I'm down here on my own, please. Stephen's going to weigh these guys. One of them is bigger than the other. I can't tell which at the moment because this guy here stood on this piece of wood that the water's on. I think it's him actually. I think it's this first one that's the biggest one. But Stephen's going to bring down the tape and do the measurements that he does to weigh them, so that we can get an idea of how far they are. Because we were just having a chat. We're going to have a look back in the archives. We think it was last year that we sent the pigs off early due to the weather. Because it was, well, last year we said because of the weather, because it was so hot, and they weren't handling it too well. But this year, goodness me, we've had a heat wave already. So are you all ready? Are you what? Don't climb. I'm watching you. It's going to climb, isn't it? Yeah, so maybe they're already acclimatized and that's not going to be an issue this way. The idea was that they weren't going to get sent off till November, but you've grown really quickly, and I'm sorry to talk about this while you're here. I really am. I'm going to go and do the other bucket so you don't get too knocked off that I've got no food for you. Okay? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. You can never truly keep the field waters clean. It's they've always got bugs or leaves or something or other in them. The amount of ladybirds I've had to rescue from this green tub, they seem to prefer this one to the others. It's just been unbelievable this year, but it's nice to see that the ladybirds are around. So this green tub here is our ponies, who is in the distance. You probably can't see him. He's behind that green field hairball, but he is a dark colour, so he's blending in. Anyway, touch wood, the flies are a bit better today, so he won't be quite as bothered. Now I might have spoken too soon because the pony's breakfast is not finished, which is not a good sign, so let's head on over and see how he is. Wanna come in for a bit, mister? You're looking alright, no injuries. That was your eye. Your eye a little bit sore. Okay, so the flies are quite bad today. Do you want to come in? Come on then, let's go and get your head collar. Well, I've brought him up from the paddock. I've left the gate separating the field that he was in and the paddock that Dexter's in open, so Dexter can go in either at the moment. He is quite happily eating this grass that is not really allowed, so I'm going to take him in, give him a check over, clean his eye up a little bit before it gets infected like it did before, and when he goes back out, and make sure he's got his fly mask on. But eating, he's interested in eating, that's a good sign. And make sure, let's not have that, oh good lad, make sure he's got plenty of water and just observe him. Hopefully he just didn't fancy it this morning, but that's the first time actually that he's not eating his breakfast in the field or even in the stable, so we'll see. So I've brought him in and I'm going to put this in his water just in case he's not had enough liquid with not having his breakfast, especially, which is the point of him having that breakfast, is more for the liquid than the calories, like I said before. Put an apple in the water can encourage them to at least intake some liquid, so we'll see. Give him one piece so he knows what it is, and then a small bucket of clean water. Separate them out for him. There you go, mister. Fill your boots. So if he was ill or completely, you know, off colour or etc, I would expect him not to be interested in that. Obviously it doesn't mean 100% that he's okay, but it's a good sign. So we'll keep an eye on him, leave him in here. He's not on here now because he's just in the field on the grass, if you can hear me over the cockerel. So I'm going to get his eyes cleaned up with a clean cloth and just observe him over a couple of hours. He won't be getting anything else to eat in here, as I say, because I don't want the hair blocking him up, which he's not used to at the moment. So even though the chickens keep escaping, or the chicks, these are the young ones, it is pretty cute when they make friends with the goat. It's okay, I'm not going to disturb you. Are you okay, Apple? Nice. Well, it's a couple of hours later and I've been monitoring him. He's had 2 drop-ins, which is good. His eye on this side, I don't know if it's coming across, is quite swollen and sore. This one's looking a lot healthier. And I've got his evening meal, which it's time for now. I would give this to him in the field. This is what he didn't eat for breakfast. You can see it's very watery. He has that every day without an issue. So let's see if he'll have it now. Come on, mister. There we go. And they're vitamins on the top, vitamins and minerals. That's a good sign. He's chomping straight into it and been to the toilet. Everything seems okay, so for whatever reason he's just been put off his food this morning. I'll continue to monitor him. I'm going to go to the field and grab his fly mask because it's down there. He has it on, and he has it on 24/7 when he does have it on, and really you need to be taking it off when the flies aren't bad. But to be honest, he can be a bit silly with it on sometimes and won't let you anywhere near him. Turns him into a different pony when he's got the fly mask on. So what I'm going to try and, hello lambs, what I'm going to try and do is oh my goodness, that was so rude, just headbutted me, is bring him into the stable and do it all in the stable basically. But that does mean that he's going to have to catch when he's in the field with it on, which he doesn't always like to do. I'm just looking to see where Dexter is actually. Oh, he's there in the distance, can you see? So he's gone back into the field where Sonic was. I'm going to grab this fly mask of his now, and then hopefully all will be good. I'm going to put him back in the left hand side of the field rather than the right of the electric fence, because I don't know if it's coming up on camera, the difference between the two. It's not really showing on the camera, but visually there's a lot more different plants and things that have been left in this field than in this one. So I'm going to put him back in here. This is looking a lot sparser as well, but everything is at the moment. And I would say the main reason for that is being what's the end of July. We've literally had so little rain. When the rain does come, the grass, the change of colour in the grass is amazing, but yeah, just nothing's growing without the water. So that's why I don't think the grass is growing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because the pony doesn't need extra grass, but Dexter could do with it. I don't know who's Dexter, Maggie or Jack. Well, it's Sunday morning and everyone is supposed to be, everybody is where they're supposed to be. Dexter and I are just having a bit of quiet time together because the plan is by the end of the school summer holidays, Dexter and I are going to be able to stand with each other and he's going to let me groom him. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Oh, that's not a good sign. I'm hoping that I haven't jinxed myself. Well, literally, I've got the back end. Never mind. Anyway, update on Sonic. He seems to be, touch wood, absolutely fine. He is eating his breakfast in the field as it stands. Stephen and I were briefly talking the other day about how we're going to manage winter for the animals. The plan was to have Dexter in the stable that we prepared for him for the night of his arrival. That obviously didn't work out. But I would like to leave the pony out a lot longer this year with him being on his own now. He won't be on his own in the barn, by the way. We've got a whole plan there, which I think Stephen's already shared, that we're going to do the back of the barn out for when the pony does come in, because inevitably he will have to, but I would still like him to be able to get out and stretch his legs. Anyway, so basically I'm trying to say that Stephen and I have been discussing shelter options, specifically for Dexter, but hopefully for the pony as well. Let's see what the summer holidays brings. It's a much cooler day today. It's a bit breezy as well. I'm going to grab at the lamb's feeder and give it a good clean out because when Stephen went to buy feed, they actually only had, they actually only had lamb finisher in our store. I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but certain times of year they basically stopped selling the creep food. Well, I understand in the winter, but people don't just breed at the same time of year, do they? Anyway, so there's no creep food left in our country store. They only have lamb finisher. So that was a good time to give the feed trough a clean out. I'll take it over to the greenhouse and wash it out, make sure there's nothing funky in there, and then give them a little bit of creep food mixed with finisher. But as you can see, any food I put in here, and a certain lady who doesn't need it will be eating it, so it does need to go back in there. And apparently I've already finished the creep food, which I wasn't aware of. So I'm putting this in a little bin that Stephen made. Remember, it's only for 4 lambs. And it's just to start them off getting used to it first. Hi, lambs! Just tried filming, but there was water all over the camera because I'm in the middle of watering all of the plants and the seeds that have been freshly sown. I'll go through all of those seeds on a separate gardening video, but basically things for the winter, and I just need to make sure that they stay wet or damp at least, because as soon as they dry out then that'll be it, have to start again. But what I do need to do, in this bed here behind me, I took 2 cauliflowers out of it a couple of days ago. One of them looks a little bit worse for wear than the other, but as I said to Stephen, it doesn't matter because I'm not putting them in a vegetable show. They're for eating. And what I've decided to do is make a curry with them because, as I say, they're not ideal for just sort of roasting and presenting as a side dish, or boiling and presenting as a side dish in their own right, but they will be perfect in a slow cooker curry or something like that. I've also just noticed I've got an aubergine, or a couple of baby aubergines, but they are dwarf patio ones. I think that they're fully mature. Obviously courgettes and things like that. But what I'm going to do is also grab a cabbage out of this bed, which is where the cauliflowers were, which started this conversation, and I'm going to do some pressure canning of basically some soups that I'll be having, some vegetarian soups for later on in the winter. I really want to get our cabbages used for that. There's beans and onions, and I'll show you the ingredients anyway. Just really quickly do that. It's not going to be a video on how to pressure can, I don't mean that, but I'll just show you what I'm doing, and then I'll also get the curry on the go as well. Starting to get a feeling as though I'm preparing for winter and autumn's on its way. We're not even in August yet, so let's just hang fire. Still summer. Don't get me wrong, I have been complaining that it is far too hot, etc, etc, but I also don't want life just to pass us by in the blink of an eye. So I'm going to get these watered. I think those onions are going to be ready for harvesting as well. Over the next few days. You can see one or two that are sticking up as thick spikes have bolted, so they probably end up on the compost, but obviously I'll check. The next bed along is the red onions, which as always were terrible. I don't even know why I bother. There's drying beans at the end of that bed as well, so those two beds, like this bed here, will be used for winter crops. Having said about summer and kind of not wanting to rush into autumn and winter, it is my favourite time of year. I'm very much an autumn and winter person, and my daughter is too. Stephen's not, but Stephen loves the sun. As I say, not a dedicated gardening video, but just look at these. These are the Greek gigantes beans. Oh my goodness, how amazing is that frame doing that Stephen built? Absolutely fantastic. The beans look like this here, and if you see this in a month or two, well, probably September time, these will all be drying on the plants. You'd get to a really good sized bean. So yeah, they look pretty and at their best now probably. There's loads coming, but then when they come to being harvested, they do look a sorrowful sight, but for a reason. It will be fantastic winter food. Another strange looking sight, I've just been through these and kind of turned them over so the sun can get to some of the other ones as well. I'm about to water these. These are cassoulet beans, which my understanding is you don't eat fresh either, so not like these which have fell off. You actually leave them to dry on the plant again for storage beans, and I can't get to it with just one hand, but basically they dry in the pod and then you pod them just for the big bean inside, which I've totally demolished with my thumbnail. Sorry bean. So I'm going to put those there in the pig trough. I'll give those them later, but they seem really prolific. Bush beans, but again really tall bush beans, so I know that for next year because I think we're really going to like these guys. And then around here there's also, you can see I've just been watering. These are for fresh eating, so these are a yellow bean, which we will literally be harvesting these today. And these are a drying bean. They look just like borlottis. They're actually called Taylor's bush bean, Taylor's drying bean rather. So again, these will be left on the plants for harvesting and having dry. I absolutely love beans in all various shapes and forms. Everybody else not so much, but hey ho. I'm asking Stephen when he's back, because clearly he's not here at the moment because I've been videoing him, to pick these apples, which you might have seen on a previous video are being eaten by the wasps. If you saw that, you'll know there's an absolutely huge amount of wasps here at the moment, and they're starting to eat those apples, and we won't be eating them fresh because obviously the wasps have been at them, but rather than waste them, I'm going to cut the bit off that the wasps have had. Obviously, sorry, what I'm saying is you can eat them fresh, obviously, you can cut the bit off and then eat them, but there's too many to eat at once like that, is what I was trying to say then. So what I'm going to do is dry them, cut the bad bits off and just put them in the dehydrator and dry them, and they will be absolutely fantastic again for winter. So now the watering's done, I'm going to grab some of the bigger courgettes that would normally go to the pigs. There's quite a few doing really well, to be honest. There's only 3 courgette plants. I did have more and I don't know what happened to them. can't remember. Anyway, they're clearly not thriving because I haven't seen any courgettes. The ones that are slightly bigger, as I say, going in the slow cooked curry, so I'm going to grab some of those and the cabbage as well so that I can make that recipe too. Both of these have started getting nibbled on the outside edges, so it's good timing. Quite a few cabbages, can't point to them because I've got arms full of courgettes, but across this row here, and then some broccoli that's gone a bit far on but can still be used in cooking, no problem whatsoever. One of the most rewarding things from the garden is being able to take it straight from the garden and get something either into a meal straight away, but more so for me into a jar or into the freezer for use in the winter or at a different time. One of the easiest ways I find of getting things on the shelves is pressure canning, if anybody's seen my videos before, and this is a method where everything's going in raw and cold and you don't need to worry about pre-cooking or anything like that. It is literally a layer of beans, carrots, celery, onions, potatoes that I had lying around. I'm using sweet potatoes and white potatoes in this, all just chopped up. I don't do it too small so that it goes mushy or anything like that. And then the star of the show is the cabbage. I have literally washed this and diced it up reasonably small, not too small, so again that it doesn't disintegrate. And each one of these jars gets topped off with the cabbage straight from the garden. I do have the carrots in the garden as well, but I wasn't sure if they were ready, and I did have some ready to use that needed using in the fridge. So top that off with some homemade chicken broth or just a stock cube, whatever you've got there. Again, nothing is pre-cooked, but I always use hot stock so that the Instant Pot that I use doesn't have to work too hard to get up to temperature, and what a perfect meal that ends up being. I've been spurred on by using up everything that was left from the party to kind of use up other stuff that I've got going on. These are frozen plums amongst everything else, just because they caught my eye there. So what I've decided to do is get a load of things out of the freezer. We have got, these are rock hard peppers from last year, the little, is it Colby peppers I think they're called? Anyway, they're a really good size in terms of using from a cooking point of view, and I guess if you're eating them fresh there would be no kind of waste where you'd be leaving some in the fridge. There's a few tomatoes in here that were left over in the freezer. I thought I'd got all of those out when I did a big cook down of tomatoes, which actually is in here. Everything's starting to get the frost on the outside because I've just got them out of the freezer. Basically in here is tomato juice, basically, so the water that comes out of them when they're cooking down. This one I think has got more actual tomato flesh in them, but anyway, basically all of these will get used within the recipes that I'm going to be making. We've got frozen onions left over from the party that I did, because I got quite a few to do some caramelized onions but didn't need them all. And then I've actually got lockdown leftovers, believe it or not. These chickpeas probably went out of, I don't know what the date is on them, 2024. I'm going to be totally fine using those chickpeas. We bought tons for some reason during lockdown. I did use a lot, but clearly didn't use enough, so these have been lurking at the back of the pantry. And one thing I like to do over the summer holidays is make sure that I get through all of the things that are in the pantry that need using, so that when we're kind of bringing everything else in from the garden, it's not just going to get used first and everything else just gets pushed to the back even more. So the idea is, I was inspired to make a ratatouille and then went off on a total tangent, and it's basically going to be some sort of ratatouille inspired vegetable stew that's going to have all of these frozen bits and pieces in. I'm also going to do the curry as well, chicken curry. What was that one? A red Thai. Anyway, I'll show you that separately. That again is left over from the party that we had, the spices and things. And I also took the opportunity to get this huge whacking piece of meat out of the freezer, which I think I think is a ham, but we'll see more when that's defrosted a touch. And that will, the point of getting that out is we'll cook that and that'll get into sliced into lunches and things like that to take away. So this is what we're starting with, and I'll show you what we finished with. I'm also using up some Thai red curry paste that we had left over too. This wasn't open, so it wasn't in the fridge or anything. I've just got it out the pantry, but again, not something we use that often. But then again, if this turns out really nice, then we might. I used this for the duck curry that I made for the party that we had, and it was actually wasn't very spicy in the end. So if I've got another one of these, which I think I might have, then I'm going to throw that in as well. I am not pre-cooking anything. Basically I've got chicken in the bottom of here that's got the Thai red curry paste in it, literally just swished it round in this slow cooker. I've got some of those frozen onions and I've got some carrots in quite big chunks. I don't want them to go mushy. I'm going to add some cauliflower from the garden as well, and coconut milk. And I'm also going to add in some tomato puree probably. And when these defrost, these will be going into splitting these between the 2 slow cookers that I'm going to have on. Well, doesn't that look like a delicious mess? Hopefully it's going to look better than this when it's done. Nearer the end, I'm going to add in, well, after a couple of hours of cooking on high, I'm going to add in some courgettes from the garden, star of the show, and also some green beans for the last kind of hour of cooking. And then this will just, once it's been on high for a few hours, I'll just leave that on low. And then if it needs to thicken, I'm going to add some red lentils in as well. To be honest, I'll probably add red lentils in anyway, because again, I've got tons of those spare. So get some used up too.
There's a deer there.
Oh,
you see
yeah,
at the end of the hedge.
Yes, a rabbit.
At the end of the fence.
Deer. Oh, there, it's off. They're a different colour to the
Isn't
ones.
it? Big horns.
And finally someone's home, so we went out on a much needed chilled out walk. It's been a lovely relaxing video for me. I hope you guys enjoyed just tagging along and listening in. I know it's not one of our more adventurous videos, but it's lovely to have a calm weekend on the Smallholding.